what they found when they arrived was this. Cragside.
Cragside was really Armstrong's pride and joy. He turned it into a kind of showcase for state-of-the-art modern technology. It was described in the newspapers as the palace of a modern magician. This house became an electrified palace. It was the very first house to be lit by the newfangled incandescent electric light bulbs. More than 40 of them, delivering the illumination of more than 1,000 candles.
Yet there was a major flaw in Swan's plan to use Cragside to encourage others to buy light bulbs. To keep his house electric, William Armstrong had one very big advantage. He had his own river, which he used to run a big hydroelectric scheme to supply the electric power that kept Cragside lit with electric light. If Joseph Swan's scheme was going to have any future at all, it couldn't possibly rely on people like William Armstrong with their own private electrical supply. What was needed was a public supply of electricity. To make money from his invention, Swan needed to reach beyond the rich and get electricity to the masses. In the closing decades of the 19th century, there was really only one place that was going to happen. Swan had lit a house. 3,000 miles away in New Jersey was a man who wanted to light the world. Thomas Alva Edison had also just invented an incandescent light bulb. But the parallel with Swan stops right there.
Edison was in every way larger than life. He was a kind of modern hero that no one had ever seen before. A mixture of engineer and entrepreneur, businessman and visionary.
In 1878, Edison set about building the world's first public electricity supply. It was a massive undertaking. He had to invent every single component, from the insulation surrounding the cables to the meters, fuses, switches, and above all, the light fittings that made it work. But that was just the beginning. Making electric light available is one thing, making it economic is quite another. The Edison revolution had only just begun.
Perhaps the most important problem that the Edison system faced was that you only need to turn the lights on at night. And that meant that electric light was only going to be used for a very limited part of each 24 hours. Now, you can't easily store electric power, and it's really inefficient and costly only to run an electric system for a very limited period of the night. The answer was to persuade a skeptical public to buy more and more devices which ran on electricity, that would make sure that they were customers of the electric companies on a 24/7 basis.
Edison's revolutionary insight was that to sell electricity, he needed to sell a lifestyle. It was the beginning of a hard sell that would engross the 20th century.
tell you a bit about electric cookery. So clean, so reliable, and so labour-saving. Well, I never.
Come on now. Get her to sign up for the thing. Oh, think of the husband. It'll cost him far less than all those doctor's bills for his indigestion. That's not salesmanship, it's just kindness to animals.
A whole range of new electrical goods appeared on the market. No stone was left unturned to convince a skeptical public that electric lighting was the new future. One electric light promoter, a man called William Preece, went to bizarre lengths.
In my house, I use lamps that require 30 volts. I often put the wires into the mouths of my little children. They don't much like it, but it doesn't harm them.
Well, I never.
Well, I never. Isn't that clever?
There's plenty of time for play.
Edison's campaign to market electricity and the electric light bulb really set the tone for consumer marketing. Because what Edison realized was that he wasn't so much selling light bulbs, he was selling dreams. Dreams of light, of leisure, of less work. People were buying Edison's light bulbs, not so much because they needed them, but because they had that dream, that vision of a world of light.